Wow, this is weird. Have not said this in a minute, but hey, what's up, hello? My name is Emma, and today I'm just gonna be doing a chatty little video catching you up on what I've been doing since my little unanticipated break from YouTube and just like a general life update. So I've been making booktube videos for 7 years now, and in that time I had never really taken a break from YouTube. Like there might have been a week or two where I didn't upload just because I was a little busy, but I've never taken a conscious step back from making videos. So these last couple of months have been very different for me. I'm so grateful for all of the support you've continued to show me on Instagram and Twitter and my Patreon and even here on YouTube, even though I haven't had new content. But I finally feel like I'm in a position to start making videos again, and that is a wonderful feeling. So I felt like this would be a great way to get me back into the filming spirit. But before we jump into what has been going on with me, I'd like to give a big thank you to today's video sponsor, which is Book of the Month. Book of the Month is an awesome literary subscription service where every month they curate 5 of the most anticipated, hottest upcoming new releases for you to choose the one that interests you most. Not only is Book of the Month one of the best ways to discover new stories, but they're also one of the best deals you can get for new adult fiction hardcovers for only $15 a month. And they also have a risk-free skip policy, so any month that you either can't afford your subscription or the books just don't interest you, you can pause your subscription until you're ready to come back. If you're interested in checking out their Maybox, some of the books include The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave, and this is a mystery novel following a new stepmother who has to take care of her new stepdaughter after her husband disappears and she begins to find out that he may not be who he always said he was. Imposter Syndrome by Kathy Wang, which follows 2 very different women, both involved in the same technology company in Silicon Valley, and it appears to have a lot of feminist themes while also having some sort of like Russian espionage plotline, which sounds really cool. Ariadne by Jennifer Saint, which is a reimagining of the Princess of Crete from Greek mythology. It follows a woman named Ariadne who betrays her family and country by helping Theseus kill the Minotaur, and it's all about how that completely transforms her life. Things We Lost to the Water by Eric Nguyen, and this is a multi-generational story following a Vietnamese immigrant family in 1979's New Orleans, and it follows the mother and her 2 sons as they are kind of coping with all of the changes of coming to North America and finding their own identity and security in a new place. And finally, How Lucky by Will Leitch, and this is a heartwarming and hilarious story of a man living with spinal muscular atrophy, which causes him to be unable to speak or move without a wheelchair, and one day he witnesses a crime from his front porch and really wants to help the police figure out what happened, but his disease makes that complicated. So these are all of the May choices for Book of the Month's box. I am particularly interested in How Lucky, Things We Lost to the Water, and The Last Thing He Told Me, and if you would like to get any of these awesome books, you can get your first box from Book of the Month for only $9.99 with the code MAYREADS. I really love Book of the Month. I have read so many fantastic books from their service, and they have been a huge supporter of my channel, so it means a lot to me, and it also really helps me out when you are able to support them as well. So thank you so much to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. So although I feel like I have so much to talk about in this video, I don't have a plan, just flying by the seat of my pants, and I feel like the easiest thing would be to talk about like what's been going on while I've been on break from YouTube. I feel like I never stop talking about grad school, but if you're a new viewer and don't know, I'm getting my master's in clinical mental health counseling, and this spring has been my last full semester of grad school. It has been a long 3 years full of a lot of hard work, but I am finally graduating with my master's degree this August, and I could not be more excited or proud of myself. I have always wanted to be some semblance of a therapist. Like, I've known that this is my calling and my reason for being in the world since I was 16, and so everything I've been doing up until this point in my life has been for that goal, and it's like finally here. And this spring was absolutely the hardest semester I've ever had in my entire life of any school, but definitely grad school. This semester I took research and counseling as well as marriage and family counseling, and we also have a weekly class dedicated to our internship, which is something else I have been doing. But yes, I have known for a while that this semester of grad school was going to be incredibly difficult with the amount of work and assignments we have, but also balancing it with working a 20-hour-a-week part-time unpaid internship. So from like November to January, I had been doing a lot of reflection and kind of like preparation for the fact that my life is going to be very different this semester. As in, I would have significantly less free time, be doing significantly more work, and that meant that a couple of things in my life have really had to take a back seat. And the main one that I have been so reluctant to give up has been BookTube, but in talking with like my professors and my therapist and really just like reconciling with myself, I knew that making videos as frequently as I have been up until this point was just not going to be possible for me. And that was really hard because I've been so dedicated to YouTube. I love YouTube and I've never wanted to take a voluntary break, but I really had to like accept my limits and recognize that there was just no possible way for me to do all of this. Number one, with the limited hours I have in the day, and number two, with my mental and physical capabilities. So I really told myself at the beginning of the semester that like, I'm just gonna do what I can with YouTube. Like, I'm gonna make videos that I want to when I can. I'm going to have to significantly reduce the amount of sponsorships I take because I can't dedicate time to making content, and that therefore influences my finances because YouTube is my only income. But the hardest part for me to reconcile with was just that I didn't have the time to be able to make videos or interact with you guys as I would like, and it really felt like I had to sacrifice a lot to make it through this semester. But luckily it's over and I literally feel so relieved. Like the first day that I had no assignments due, because I technically left many assignments till the semester ended because I couldn't even do the work in the semester. It was so much. But the day after I had handed in my last assignment, I was like, I am so relaxed. Like I don't remember what it feels like to feel this way, because for the past 2 months, like the only things I feel that I have been doing are working, doing my internship, in class, and doing class work. So before I start talking more about my internship, the way that the rest of my schooling works is I have the month of May off from classes, which I am just so excited for, to have like more free time and be able to make videos and read and work out and just do all the things that I haven't been able to do. Then I have 2 classes in June and July, and then I am done. My degree is conferred on August like 28th or August 30th, and then I am done with school. This is always really annoying to explain, but even though my degree is done in August and I still have classes in June and July, I technically attend the graduation ceremony in May, which is like a week from now. So you're gonna see me posting like graduation photos and talk about graduating, but like I haven't graduated yet. Like I still have classes. But yeah, I have worked damn hard for this. I got almost all A's throughout grad school. I just got inducted to the Psychi Honor Society, which is a counseling honor society. And I am moving on and like finishing this part of my journey to becoming a counselor. Which leads me to the next thing that has been going on in my life for the past like 5 months, and that is my new internship. So I started my new internship in January, and it is at a private practice based in New York City, but because of the pandemic, I have been working entirely from home from this time, and I have just had like the most amazing internship experience ever. Like if you have watched my grad school vlog, that will give you a little bit of an idea of what grad school was like for me last like September and what that internship was like. But I'm at a new place now, and I just feel like I have the most amazing training ever. Like I really feel like I'm becoming the counselor that I've always wanted to be, and like better than I ever expected myself to be, I think. My internship site is actually a dialectical behavioral therapy practice, which is not a specific branch of therapy that I ever had much experience with, and also one that I never expected myself to work in. But like I said, I've gotten amazing training on what DBT is and how to use it to work with clients, and I really love it, and now like do it all the time for my clients, and I use a lot of the skills myself, and it has been amazing. That's the only word I have to describe it. And what's like the coolest part is it just feels so real. Like I am really working as an actual counselor. I have 11 of my own clients that I see every week, and I help co-lead 2 DBT skills groups. I have a lot of freedom and independence, which was initially very jarring for me because I am typically the person who needs like so much guidance and exact steps to do work. I've always been that way, but I've been challenged in an amazing way to take more authority and autonomy in the workplace and just be more responsible for myself. And it's really helped me grow as both a person and a counselor. And what I am so excited to share is my internship site actually offered me a position as a full-time counselor for when I graduate. So I am leaving grad school not only with like great grades, but with a job in hand. And I'm just so relieved and grateful and wonderstruck because at the end of 2020, I just saw this semester going very differently, and I definitely saw 2020 going very differently too. But where I am now just feels exactly where I meant to be, and that's just the best feeling. So I'm really, really looking forward to the next step in this journey. And another thing that I get like a lot of DMs on Instagram about is followers asking me if like they could set up a therapy session with me or if I could be their therapist. So I just want to make like a very clear blanket statement here that anyone who has ever been a fan of my videos or followed me on social media, like I can never be your therapist, at least at this point in my life as such a new counselor. It's unethical, we'd have a dual relationship, and it wouldn't be the best care for you. But I love my clients, I love the work that I'm doing, and I'm just so excited to continue. So I actually asked some of you on Instagram like what you wanted updates on for this video, and a lot of you were interested in hearing about like how my mental health and like self-love is doing. And that's definitely a complicated question right now because certain aspects of that are like really good and certain aspects of it are not where I'd prefer to be. So since the pandemic started, like many of you watching, I'm sure, I have gained some weight, and that has been really difficult for me as someone who has spent 10 years in recovery from an eating disorder. I am currently at the largest body size that I have ever lived in, and I'll be honest that coping with that has been really difficult for me. Obviously, we are in the middle of a global pandemic, and I have not been leaving my house anywhere near as often as I used to, but also because I've been so busy with school and internship, I physically and mentally have not had the ability to really take care of myself physically by going to the gym, working out, stretching, or taking pole classes. And it's been really rough because I love doing those things and I feel good when I take care of my body in that way, and it feels like this has just been another thing I have to sacrifice for my academic life. I personally feel that I look different, my body feels different, and this sort of change is particularly hard for someone like me that has been in eating disorder recovery for 10 years. I have been going through clothing sizes like nobody's business, and of course I know that sizes do not matter, they make no sense and are completely arbitrary, but like it's not a good feeling to have to psych yourself up to buy clothes that were bigger than your previous ones and then outgrow those. And something else that's been really difficult is like my body physically has more mass than it used to be. So the things that I used to be able to do with my body, even if I've maintained like the flexibility and the skill to do so, like things get in the way that weren't in the way before. And I don't like feeling restricted by my body because that's how I feel right now. And I wish I could say I had like some answers or solutions for you, but I don't, because this is something I'm currently going through, and I'm sharing that because I'm sure a lot of you are going through the same thing. The ways I've been taking care of it, or I've been talking to my therapist about it, of course, and my friends and my boyfriend who have been very understanding, helpful, and supportive in this time. I've also been trying to practice more body neutrality instead of body positivity because loving my body right now just feels impossible. But really, like, my body should just be like the least interesting thing about me, and I don't want to pay a lot of mind to it. And I also don't want to judge myself for feeling bad about my body. And I'm also just trying to be a little more proactive in making some lifestyle changes, like actually prioritizing time for going to the gym, going to a pole class while I'm off school, because I haven't been to my pole studio in like months. And that's so depressing. And also trying new foods, meals, and recipes to expand my palate and maybe make some healthier choices. And I'm feeling a little bit better, like, in making those changes and acknowledging how I've been feeling. My depression and anxiety has not been the best it's ever been, but it's also not been the worst, which I feel like is a win. For some people, being really busy and distracted is helpful in combating depression and anxiety, but for me, I haven't been self-caring or really taking care of my mental health, so it's made it a lot more difficult. So I've been struggling with motivation, getting started doing tasks, and having my anxiety make me procrastinate, and it has not been fun in this time that has been so consumed by work and deadlines. I did actually talk to my doctor about getting on anti-anxiety medication in addition to the antidepressants that I'm taking, because I felt that a lot of the anxiety I've been facing has been super physical and like physiological, as opposed to me mentally getting caught in a spiral. I haven't really noticed any changes yet of a couple of weeks of being on them, but it takes time, and I'm just looking forward to hopefully making some steps in the right direction. And I've also been going through a couple of other things in the last few years that I'm just like not ready to talk about publicly in depth, but it's definitely contributed to my poor mental health. But like I said, I am not as bad as I've been. I have overcome much, much worse than this, and I think that I'm actually managing all of it pretty well despite having some more troubles. And I feel like I'm just really committed to making some more changes, like being more mindful, being more active, which helps my mental health, taking my breaks, and just allowing myself to relax. And I feel like I'm at least moving towards that place, which is very reassuring and comforting for me. And I think the last thing I want to talk about in this video is my love life and relationship, because that was something that I definitely got a lot of questions about on Instagram. So definitely, if you follow me on Instagram, you have probably been introduced to my partner named Jake. Jake and I actually have a very long and interesting history, but I kept our relationship very quiet on social media for the first handful of months. And then once I started posting about him, he was just like here. And now I feel that Jake is just like a regular staple in my online presence, and I know a lot of you guys get enjoyment from seeing him in my content or following him yourself. So Jake and I first met when I was in high school, as we both worked at the same sneaker store. And so we had worked together for like 2 years together, I think, and became really good friends at that time. And by really good friends, I mean that I fell completely head over heels for him almost immediately, and just had like the biggest like teenage crush on him that you've ever seen, and everyone we worked with, including Jake, knew. But we were actually really good friends. Like, I went to see his band play a couple of times, and there's even a video where you can see me sitting front row, like total fangirl at one of his shows. So we met in like 2011, but around 2013, we had just completely lost contact, did not talk at all or follow each other on social media, like completely separate lives for about like 7 years. But there are 3 exceptions to this. So number one, in like 2017, a manager who used to work at the sneaker store passed away, and Gary was incredibly special to all of us, so we decided to have a little reunion in his favor. And so along with the rest of my coworkers who I hadn't seen in a long time, Jake and I were able to hang out and catch up for the first time in 4 years, and it was like no time had passed at all. I'm just gonna quickly address this because every time I post these photos, somebody asks, but yes, that is Casey Cohen from Below Deck Mediterranean. Casey also used to work with Jake and I, and Casey and I are still good friends today. And it just so happens that she's smack dab in the middle of both of my old photos with Jake. But it was only a couple of hours of one night, and then we once again parted ways and did not speak. The other 2 instances, though, are like straight out of a YA novel or romance movie, though. So the first one is one night at this time where Jake and I had no contact, I pull up to a red light and I look out my window and Jake is sitting in the car next to me. He does not see me. The light turns green. We go our separate ways and I'm like, wow, like that is the last time I am ever going to see Jake. And I did not find this out until many years later, but Jake actually had a very similar occurrence where he was crossing the street one night and I was in the car that was at the stop sign that he crossed in front of, and he saw me, but I did not see him. I'll only speak for myself because Jake is not here, but in this time period, I missed Jake being a part of my life a lot. I thought about him and I held on to those very, very intense feelings that I had when I was much younger, always as a part of me, and I had just accepted that like I would never see him again and we would never be together. Fast forward to December of 2019, I am like 6 months after a long-term breakup and I get a random Facebook friend request from Jake. I am just like shocked, staring at my phone. The very first thing I do is take a screenshot because I'm like, I need to know this is real. Then we started talking and here we are. Like, it's really that simple. So Jake and I start dating in January of 2020 and we are just caught up in this amazing whirlwind romance of like the one that got away for each of us came back, and then the pandemic hits. Very much transformed our expectations for a relationship. But what had happened was in the beginning of the pandemic, when like no one really knew how long it was going to go on for and we all just thought we were like home from work for 2 weeks, we had started like spending a lot of time together where I would stay at his house for like a week, and it just kept on going where for most of the pandemic I would spend like a week at Jake's house and then a week at home and then go back. And so we've had this really unique experience of building a relationship while the world is shut down and we're not seeing our friends or going out anywhere and we're just like locked in together. And while I know that this has been a big point of conflict for many relationships, it really allowed us to thrive, and we've been dating for almost a year and a half now. It is just the greatest, most genuine and healthiest relationship I have ever been in, and like I literally don't think I have ever been this happy. We are just so emotionally in tune with each other. Our communication styles are just very open and expressive. So yeah, Jake is just the most amazing person I've ever met. He is one of the most important people in my life, and I foresee him being a part of my life for a very, very long time. He means the absolute world to me, and it also means so much to me to be able to share him with all of you. That is another incredibly important part of my life. I think that's really it for this life update. I think the only thing that I haven't mentioned in this particular video is that during this semester, I did actually get COVID. Let this be a lesson to all of you. I hung out with one friend for the first time in like 3 or 4 months, and I got COVID. I just coincidentally happened to start filming a reading vlog right as I got COVID, so if you're interested in seeing my experience with the virus, I have it all documented in that video. Luckily, I had a really, really mild case and I am now vaccinated, hashtag Pfizer gang, and just super excited about taking the next step in overcoming this pandemic. But yes, that is really it for my life update. I really wanted this to be a video about talking about like what I've been going through and what my life has looked like, but I do have so many videos planned. Oh, I feel like I should have answered this in the beginning because I know so many people are curious. I have videos coming. Number 1, my Chain of Iron reading vlog is coming. I am editing it. It will be to you next video, I promise. I also have a study with me vlog from all of the relentless studying I did this semester that I'm excited to share. I have a major book haul of all of the books that I have bought in like the last handful of months that I cannot wait to talk about. And I have not done a recent reads in such a long time, and I have read a lot of books. I've read like a decent amount of books during this time of being a student, so I'm excited to talk about those and give you all the reviews. So yes, it just feels so good to be back to making videos and chatting with you guys and editing and just being creative and doing what I love, because YouTube and booktube and making videos is what I love. In the comments below though, I want to hear about what has been going on in your life, whether it is like the past couple of months or this past year and a half of the pandemic. Like, I just want to know what has been going on with you. That is it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support in this time, and I just can't wait to get back to making new videos for you. But that is it, and I will see you soon for a new video. Bye!